Shalom, live lesson in motion, as we're always on the move. That is the elect of Yahweh Shai. Hopefully this up's in place. I don't hear any audio, but it's a live lesson going on right now about current events. There it is. Alright, Shalom.
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders and GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his young brothers. And peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, and Kakadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Shai. All right, another morning news and prophecy, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Shai, who gives us the inspiration, to do these lessons, to be edifying to the body. All right, now I want to touch on mainly, shortages, still loom. Okay, that narrative is still out, which is not being pushed heavily, okay, as it once was. Okay, but you still have certain incidents, and certain reportings, all right, about, the reserves, running low. However these devils doing it, man, whether, the reserves are actually running low or, it's just a narrative, that they're using, to shut things down, all right, because we know these devils have a lot going on, okay, and what we're seeing happening, with the Strait of Hormuz, okay, well, it's never going back to how it was before February 28th, okay, and they normalized, this incident, so, either way, whether, like I say, whether it's, shortages, some nations are going through actual shortages, okay, and then they can use shortages in other nations to say it's a global shortage in order to, bring crisis, in order to bring famine, okay, in order to, bring hyperinflation, to these economies, to put more of a squeeze on the masses, man, because we know they want a scenario of desperation, so we continue to follow this narrative with the shortages, okay, and see what this devil takes it, man. But we know one thing, that this devil, he is being rushed, all right, to set up this new world order, and even, this whole anti-AI extremism, that's a new thing now, okay? If you're anti-technology, okay, well, look, you're getting ready to be considered an enemy of the state, an enemy of, all right, the government. You're getting ready to be considered a national threat, and there's just another way of him broadening, okay, the category, all right, of dissent, which justifies him getting rid of a lot of the population, man. Okay, so let's get some precepts, and then we got a couple videos to go into. All right, now,
I think AI has made people lazy.
Jeremiah 28 and 8, it said, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence, man. So we come in the same stead of the prophets of old. Okay, the Lord has raised up all these prophets in the last days, man, because we're in the time of great war, great evil, in the time of pestilence, man. Okay, this is where we at when it comes to prophecy, all right, and this is the last time the Lord, is going to have to judge the earth on a mass scale like this, man. Okay, before he establishes Yahweh Shai, okay, as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords in the earth, and Lord, we'll join heirs to Yahweh Shai, man, and we're going to maintain righteousness in the earth forever. See, we're learning the lesson why it's vital to maintain righteousness in the earth, man. The predicament that the earth is in, the predicament that we in as a nation, goes back to us, all right, not understanding, the severity of maintaining righteousness in the earth, man.
Yep.
Okay, so now
our
we're
rebellion
to judge this last final time, and within this last captivity, there's a remnant, okay, that has come to the conclusion that righteousness is the way. There's no other alternative outside of righteousness, man. Okay, you see, we never want to see the earth in this predicament again. We never want our people, okay, the chosen people, to be in this predicament again, man. Okay, so what we're saying is the Lord's getting ready to wrap up the kingdom of Esau, and it's going to be with great judgment, man. Okay, Esau, Edom, okay, especially through America, is what become a great kingdom. This is that great kingdom that we're assigned to prophesy against in these latter days, man. Okay, so we're in a time of war, evil, and pestilence, man, and these things are only going to increase. Okay, and it has moments to where things seem like they they die down. Okay, but that's the sake of our patience being tested, and the Lord wants people off guard. Okay, the
so-called ceasefire, right?
To become known,
you can see it's a hoax.
Prophecy, man. Okay, because he wants the masses to be caught off guard. He wants to be a thief in the night. Okay, but the Lord, for the sake of the hopeful elect, the Lord has set up watchmen, man. That's why you go to Ezekiel, Let's get this in the book of Ezekiel chapter 3. Okay, it's the book of Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 17. It says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. Okay, so Yahweh Bashim Shai has made us watchmen unto the house of Israel. Okay, he has raised up men, to dedicate, their life to being watchmen, man.
Yep.
Okay, so we're watching, through filtering the news and current events, through the scriptures.
That's all we do.
And then we report these things.
That's what we're fixated on.
And edifying the church and showing the church, look, this is what we get.
Fuck the NFL draft. Fuck wrestling. Fuck all that other stuff, man. That stuff we might have liked before. We can keep it in the background, but we're fixated on this.
The vanity of this world by the day, man.
Yep. Because all that other stuff is vanity.
A lot of things that most people care about is not going to matter in the time coming, man.
Yep. And we know this.
These things are not going to matter. The Lord's going to get ready to take this thing to the next phase, man. You see? So when you go into it, the Lord has raised up watchmen and said, therefore, hear the word in my mouth and give them warning from me. So it's the Lord that's bringing war. It's the Lord that's going to make Esau be a madman, sparing none. You see? The Lord, Esau's a tool on the left-hand side.
But it's the Most High that provokes them to action. Think about that.
Unleashed, in the earth to cause a lot of havoc, man. Okay? In the attempt to try to establish this new world order. Okay, so we want to be in good standards with the power that's in control of everything, man. We're warning our people directly from Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, the power that's in control of everything, man. Everything that this devil is doing, he's not doing it on his own accord. Okay, the Lord is driving this man to do these things, man. To bring about pestilence, civil unrest, famine. Okay, shortages. Okay, you see, it's the Lord driving this man to do this, man. So our thing now is to get in good standards with our power before that day comes. Okay, before judgment comes, man.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. Get right with him.
18 and 20. Bless the rock 18 and 20. Let's get this here. Right, the book of Micah. The book of Zephaniah. You see, but that evil day is approaching, man. That evil times, these bad times are approaching, man. Okay, and the Lord finna shake shit up, man. That's why, we really got to meditate in the times we're in, man. You see, we really got to meditate on these things, man. The Lord finna shake the world up, man, and it's gonna be the worst right here in America, man. Okay, the belly of the beast. This is Zephaniah 2 and 1. It says, gather yourselves together. Yeah, gather together. Oh, nation not desired. Who's the nation not desired, man? Israel, man. Okay? Look, that nation is not desired. Before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as a chaff, before the fierce anger of the Lord come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you, man. Okay? So we in a time where the Lord's anger is finna, break forth in the earth, man. Because right now we're telling you the Lord's anger. Okay? But soon, all right?
He's going to show his anger.
He's going to allow, the famine of the word to occur. It's going to be Esau cutting the prophets.
No more warnings from us.
Finish talking, man. Okay, It's going to be the Lord finish talking, man. Esau going to do what he do. Okay, but ultimately it's the Lord finish talking, man. It's a high power that's far higher than Esau that's operating and running everything, man.
Be glad he's still talking through us.
Yahweh through his son, Yahweh Shai. Okay, so we should be worried about the Lord's anger, man. Not the anger of Esau, not the anger of people. Because, hey, you see, they anger don't amount to nothing. If we in good standards with our power, okay, if we in good standards with Yahweh Bashim Shai, the anger of everyone else don't matter. Because these people, because the devil finna push his propaganda against the prophets, man, we're going to be hated, man. But that's okay. We can be hated by everyone as long as we're in good standards with our power. Okay? That's why, hey, our day-to-day should be about pleasing Yahweh Bashim Shai. Okay? Everyone else on earth can be disappointed at us, man. But as long as our power is pleased with us, we good, man. Because when that anger break forth, the only thing that's going to matter is who's in good standards with Yahweh Bashim Shai, man. Okay? We're here to please our power. The Israelite men, we are here to please our power, man. We want favor in these times, man. You see? It says before the decree bring forth, because all these things, all right, all these prophecies and these events and these evil times, well, everything is waiting on the decree. Because everything has an appointed time. Okay? When the Lord is going to send these things forth. Because everything is moving on his decree. Esau can't do nothing until the decree of the Lord go forth. Okay? Esau can't get to the next phase until the decree of the Lord allows him, man. You see, because what the word of the king, there is power. You see? So nothing is moving, as the scriptures say, he do not stir the times. Okay? I think that's 2nd Ezra. You can get that as well. We're going to get into some of these videos. I believe it's 2nd Ezra 4. Let me see exactly what it said. Okay? 2nd Ezra 4 and Yeah, let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 4, verses 36 and 37, Bible shop. Okay? It says, before the day of the Lord's anger, all right, come unto you, seek ye the Lord, all you meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Okay? Seek righteousness, seek meekness, it may be, ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger, man. We want to be hid, man. You know, we want to be hid from what the Lord is getting ready to do, all right, in the earth, man, from his anger, man. We want to fall into the Lord's mercy, man. Okay? So, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and cue this video up. My brothers got precepts come. So let me cue this first video up, all right? Because you know there's still talks of these shortages, man. You know, Esau's not really pushing a heavy campaign, okay? Which that's this devil, all right? The Lord could be having the devil, being crafty, because he wants everyone sweet, because he don't want you to prepare in no type of way, he pushed it and it kind of died down with the energy crisis. So, people getting lax in the summertime, people, moving around. Okay?
Yeah.
People, all the
get ready to go on summer vacation, all that bullshit.
Which, there's nothing wrong with moving around. But see, if your mind is only based in this place continuing, okay, if you think that this is normal times, okay, anything can happen any day, man. The Lord can cause something to happen and just change the whole trajectory where you have to start canceling plans and the least want people scrambling, man. Because they put certain news out there just to see the reaction, and they check the pulse of the people. You best believe they're seeing, people are getting, comfortable in the summertime, they're out, events, chilling, like I say, traveling, gas went down a few cents, and like, hell yeah, it went up $2 and go down 10 cents, and people act like they have some type of victory, man. And they're just a psychological
speeding like fuck, like a dumb fuck.
Okay, this is Brother Yashima, tribe of Judah. Ecclesiastes 18:20 said, before judgment examine thyself, in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy, man. So before judgment examine thyself, and in the day of visitation thou shalt find mercy. Okay? So we should be in the spirit of examining ourselves in these times, man. And we can't act like we already made it. Nah, man. And another thing that the Lord is has this thing drawn out, but there's still, work we got to do on the inward man. Okay? There's work still to be done on the inward man within us, man.
Yep.
Okay? We don't want to get content in this thing like we made it. Nah, man, we still got to do work on the inward man. We want to be as pleasing to our power before Yahweh returns.
Examine yourself. Did you do a lesson today? Did you?
Good wife, man. How can I be more?
Is that the first thing you thought of?
What else can I do?
Yeah.
Okay. What else can I? How can I be more compatible with him and what he got going on?
How can I be more productive?
So every day that Yahweh doesn't come, we should become more compatible with Yahweh, man. In the midst of these prophecies, in the midst of this, there's still work that we have to do on the inward man. To keep making ourselves more compatible to Yahweh. Because the thing is, for us brothers, is to be as close to Yahweh, okay, at his return, and he's going to finish us off when he changes us, man. So this ain't time to kick our feet up and be content. No, man, this is time to dig down more, man. Yahweh is expecting more, and he requires more. You see?
Yep.
Yahweh requires more. He requires
those that persevere.
We must decrease and he must increase, man. So even in the midst of prophecy, man, we want to keep increasing in Yahweh, man. And that's as long as we increase in Yahweh, man, okay, we're going to be good, man. We're going to win. You see? And everything else, man, it's a coin toss, man. But in Yahweh, this is a guarantee. Okay? This is the book of Psalms 32:6. It said, for this shall everyone, all right, it's Psalm 32:6. I titled on hopefully. It says, for this shall everyone that is godly pray unto thee in time when thou mayest be found. Surely in the flood of great waters, they shall not come nigh unto him. Man, and he saw those great waters, okay, that's getting ready to come like a flood, as the scripture say, man. Okay? And because any type of extremist category, any type of anti-this category that this nigga got, we in every category. Okay? Anti-America, anti-technology, anti-progressivism, whatever this nigga make, anti-this, anti-that, whatever extremist category that he comes up with, we gonna be in all of them, man.
Yep.
Okay?
Anti-vax.
You see, Psalms 32:7. Thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance, man. So we have a hiding place in Yahweh B'Shem Shai. You see, our power is in control of everything. So our main objective is to be in good standards with our power. What's this? Proverbs 12:16. And just rolling in the spirit, man. We're gonna get to the news, okay? But hey, rolling in the spirit, man. This is our second Bible shot, Proverbs 12 and 16. The brother post that. The second Ezra 4 and 36, it says, this is the brother servants of Yahweh 144. All right. Yeah, this is right. Okay. Second Ezra 4 and 36, it says, and unto these things Uri the archangel gave them answer and said, even when the number of seed is filled in you, for he have weighed the world in the balance. Okay. So the number of seeds is us coming back reincarnated, because we come back to what the seed, okay, of Israelite mint, we come back to the seed. Okay, we keep recycling, the spirits, keep recycling, man. The prophets keep coming back. And see, now we in their last cycle, man. Okay, now we in that last cycle where we're finna be perfected. You see that? We're finna be perfected. The Lord's finna perfect the sons of God. He's finna perfect our remnant, man. Okay, men, women, and children that's allotted for salvation, man. Hey, we endure, we're gonna be perfected, man. Okay, so we're in that last seat. So all these events that's happening, that's the Lord finishing up, okay, refining and perfecting, all right, this the remnant, man. Okay, so it was always a set time for us to come back. That's why the disciples, they was ready for the kingdom then. They thought Yahushua was going to come get busy with Rome. Okay, they thought he was coming to get Tiberius, and they thought he was coming to get them niggas to work. You see, why Peter was ready to go, he was on go mode, man. Okay, but the number of seeds wasn't fulfilled in us yet, man. We had to keep cycling back that set number of time, and that time was already set before the foundation of the earth. Okay, but now we're here. Our riders are just that last cycle. Okay, and I fully believe this is it, man. Because all the events, okay, because there's only a few prophecies left. Okay, and all of them are being fulfilled as we speak. The MOTB is in progress. Civil unrest is in progress. World War III is in progress, man. Everything is in progress, man. Okay, to fulfill these last few prophecies that's going to usher in Yahushua. Okay, this is verse 37. It says, by measure have he measured the times. It's the brother Ashima tribe of Judah. It says, and by number have he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled, man. Okay, so the Lord already had a set measure, okay, when he will begin to fulfill, all right, these prophecies, man. So he didn't stir, all right, he's not going to stir it up until a set time. But what are we seeing now? Everything is being stirred up. See, now he's stirring the time because we're here. Now all the ingredients is in the pot, and he's stirring the pot. Okay, you see, now prophecy is cooking, man. You see, so let's go here. I think the brother got it. Yep, this is brother Mark Ball. Okay, this is brother Mark Ball. Proverbs 12 and 16. It says, it's like it, bro. It might be the wrong one. Hold on. I thought that was Proverbs 12 and 16. So like, so like it's Proverbs 16 and 7. So like it, Proverbs 16 and 7. So like it, bro. I set you up for failure. Proverbs 16 and 7, though, Bible shot. This is on the brother beyond Yashala. All right, 144. Isaiah 33 and 22. It said, for the Lord is our judge. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai is our lawgiver. The Lord is our king. He will save us, man. And how is he going to save us, man? Through Yahweh Shai. He's going to send back, all right, Yahweh Shai, okay, with that heavenly host, man, to deliver, all right, that remnant, man. Okay? He's going to send Yahweh Shai with that heavenly host, to deliver a remnant, man. But these things have to play out. These things that we go into, these things have to play out, okay, before the Lord sends Yahweh Shai. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting.
Yep. Everything's leading to the MOTB being mandated.
Laboring in this thing, performing to Yahweh Shai. Because the Lord, he wants us completely dead to this world, man. So a lot of things that happen to us, bro, a lot of things that happen to us, brothers, man, it's for us to become more numb to this shit. It's for us not to care about this shit more and more. Certain things happen because the Lord wants us to care less about this too. He wants to care less about this world. He wants to care less about these little situations. And no, man, he wants us to be completely dead, man. So we can endure. You see, because to endure through the times that we're coming into, man, we're gonna have to be dead to this place on a whole nother level, man. Okay, another level of faith, another level of being dead and numb. All right, to this current world, this current age, man. Okay, it says when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him, man. Okay, so when a man's ways please the Lord, so as men, what should we be focused on? Pleasing the Lord. Okay, when we please the Lord, everything else falls into place, man. Okay, the Lord begins to make moves in our favor, man. Because the whole thing is about to get, all right, the victory is in the chariot, man. Ain't no victory for us in this world on this side. There's no victory. Okay, the victory is being on that chariot and let Yahweh Shai saying, job well done. Okay, as El Apostle Bar, You know, he said that's the number one thing he wants is to get that job well done from Yahweh, man.
Yeah, that's the
one. That's what we want. That we get that job well done from Yahweh, we good forever.
Everything else doesn't matter.
This is why we came here, brothers, is to do this, man, and to get that job well done from Yahweh. This is our purpose, man. This is it. You know? So let's play a little bit of this, you know, dealing with these shortages. Jay like, goddamn, I thought this was the news. You know, hey, Spirit do what it do, man. So let's play this.
The global economy does not need to literally run. One of the most misunderstood aspects of the current oil crisis is that the global economy does not need to literally run out of oil in a catastrophic shock. The world's energy system failed long before inventories approached zero. What matters is not simply the total number of barrels sitting in storage somewhere, but whether enough oil remains available to keep the complex global circulation network functioning smoothly. A useful analogy would be the human body. A person does not die because every drop of blood disappears. The body actually fails when circulation can no longer sustain critical functions. And so the global oil system operates in much the same way. Pipelines, storage terminals, refineries, tanker fleets, and distribution networks all require a minimum level of oil moving through the system at all times. If inventories fall too low, circulation breaks down and the energy system begins to seize up. This is why the recent developments in the Middle East are causing such concern among energy analysts. Since February, global oil inventories have been falling rapidly as markets compensate for the loss of supply associated with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. According to estimates from UBS, global inventories stood at more than 8 billion barrels at the end of February, prior to the United States and Israel attack on Iran. By the end of April, they had fallen to approximately 7.8 billion barrels, and by the end of May, they were expected to decline further to roughly 7.6 billion barrels. At first glance, these figures might appear reassuring. After all, 7.6 billion barrels sounds like an enormous quantity of oil. The problem, however, is that most of these inventories are not truly available as a buffer against disruption. Analysts at JP Morgan estimate that only about 800 million barrels can be drawn down without placing significant stress on the system.
Because what we have to understand, you know, you hear these, you know, huge amounts of oil reserves, global, you know, oil reserves. Well, you have to understand how much oil is used in a day. Okay, so if you have 100 million barrels of oil that's being used in a day, okay, remember that the world uses 100 million barrels of oil a day. Okay, so in 1 week, that's 700 million barrels of oil. Okay, in 1 week. In 2 weeks, that's 1.4 billion barrels of oil. Okay, this is a daily consumption. So it can sound like, oh, we got 8 billion. No, in 2 weeks you use 1.4 billion barrels of oil. Okay, a month 2.8. Okay, so you use close to 3 billion barrels of oil a month. Okay, so you do the math. How many times can 3 go into 8? With 2 point something. Okay, so we'll see, man. Like, you know, with these devils, you know, we know, okay, that they, all right, of course, using this narrative, you know, for you know, to create a crisis, a manufacture a crisis, man. Okay, and we're gonna see how they're gonna play it out, man. You see with these numbers, man, it's gonna get to the point.
Yeah, because the tankers, they just stop.
One thing about it, they're setting up the infrastructure. You know, why they got this narrative running about these energy crises, man. Okay, so when they get this infrastructure to a certain point, okay, get ready for these devils to really push these prices, man. You know, it seemed like certain things are tearing. Like I said, the gas went down 10 cents, and the nigga went back to sleep. Nigga went, you know, nigga back to sleep. Nigga good now. You know, and we all right feeling. Okay, but these things are gonna hit, man. It's gonna catch a lot of people out.
And like everything else, you know that there's no ceasefire. They've just been, you know, halting everything. Well, if I hadn't said it, Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash, double honors, the and apostles of Great Millstone, who are teaching us truth and sincerity. And shout out to Yakims out there in the four corners of the earth proclaiming this truth. Braka the Yahweh, Braka the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash, Brakatum. So often they do an interview with this professor here from Iran who sees everything and actually has been at the forefront of everything that's taken place. And, you know, he's not a government official there, but he certainly has a lot of insight because he's there firsthand, seeing everything that's going on, and he's letting you know straight out the gate what's going on. You know, because tankers have not moved since the February 28 attack, and this is now June 2nd. So you can see how long this has been since they just sat there, because nobody's been able to get through. That is, for Babylon the Great or Israeli state. Taking Venezuela ain't going to do a lot of difference, even though they tell you, oh yeah, we couldn't do this without Venezuela. Well, it's a lot deeper than that, and this is all being done on purpose. If you watch Superman 3, okay, you remember Ross Webster, if you saw the movie in the 80s like I did, Ross Webster decided that, first today we can control the coffee. Tomorrow we will control the tankers. And he ordered all the tankers just to sit in the middle of the ocean and do nothing. And guess what? That's what's happened here with the Strait. All the tankers just stopped because that's where all the oil really is. And then the U.S. decides to throw another blockade in front of it. Nonetheless, though, we know that the global economy, it's all being stopped on purpose, with the tankers just being held there. Because again, the last tanker just already arrived near the seaport of Los Angeles, so that was the last tanker going through. And that everything should run out by the 4th of July, which is the end of an empire, the 250-year empire. Israeli state sacrificed the global economy to prolong war against Iran. Israeli state has clear interest in prolonging U.S. hostilities with Iran and has been successfully sabotaging efforts to reach peace agreement. Professor Mohammed Marandi told RT. Political analysts commented on the latest escalation of the Israeli military operations against Lebanon, including strikes on Beirut, which triggered new surge in tensions between D.C. and Tehran and could bring negotiations to a permanent halt. So we're going to play that interview and going to continue on.
Let's have more on this conversation right now with the professor at the University of Tehran, Sayed Mohammed Marandi, now joining us here live from the capital. So good to get you on, Professor. A very warm welcome to you today.
Thank you.
It is a little bit to go through here, Professor, because it seems to me, Israel has essentially announced what's going to be the imminent bombing of Beirut after countless attacks across that poor country's southern regions. And it seems now, because of these constant ceasefire violations and incursions and attacks by Israel against Lebanon, Tehran is really standing up tall and now coming out and saying, hey, talks with Washington are off if you guys cannot abide by what we agreed upon with Lebanon. Can you tell me, where are we standing right now? It's 7:37 p.m. on Monday where you are. Where does the crisis stand at this moment, sir?
You're right. It's quite extraordinary that the West, which always raises its voice about airstrikes or missile strikes on Kiev, when the Russian armed forces do not target apartment blocks, they do not bring down hundreds of buildings, as the Israelis have already done, thousands of buildings, literally, during this period of time, that all belong to ordinary citizens. They've murdered 3,500 citizens just over the past few weeks. But, unlike in Gaza, where the West always pretended that they could not confirm what was going on during the genocide because they didn't have a presence, the West has a full presence in Beirut. The Western media, they're all there. Beirut has more Western journalists than any other Arab country. Yet they still look away, or they try to justify the slaughter of civilians by calling these Hezbollah strongholds or Hezbollah targets, whereas we're seeing on social media children being slaughtered, men and women, families being collectively killed. But for the Iranians, the Iranians are saying enough is enough. We were supposed to have a ceasefire. The Americans and the Israeli regime, they want to continue with the slaughter, and that is unacceptable to us. So the Iranians are saying the slaughter in Gaza must end, the slaughter in Lebanon must end, and if this continues, we'll have to strike the Israeli regime. In addition, the Iranians are contemplating shutting down the Strait of Hormuz to the limited number of ships that are going through, and Iran has discontinued talks with the exchange of messages with the Trump regime, so that this is only going to make the shortage of energy much worse, and it's going to push the U.S. economy towards a crisis.
Yeah, listen, I think you make a very, very good point there, Professor. I'm wondering here, who is kind of screwing who when it comes to Trump and Netanyahu? Because a lot of people say, oh, Trump controls Netanyahu. No, Netanyahu controls Trump. Trump is doing anything, I think, possible to try and get some kind of deal because he wants to be a winner. And yet Netanyahu is announcing a ramped-up round of assaults against Lebanon. So who's controlling who here, do you think?
I think what you say is clearly shows who's in charge. Netanyahu's the boss. And not Netanyahu as an individual, but Netanyahu and the Zionists who support him, whether in Washington or in the Israeli regime. Trump obviously wants a way out. That's why he's been negotiating. But every time the negotiations seem to be getting somewhere, we see the Israeli regime and the Zionist lobby in the United States pushing back and forcing Trump to change his position and to flip-flop. And we know, this is what's going on from the resignation of Dokent, who was the head of counterterrorism, a Trump appointee. When he resigned at the beginning of the war, he said, look, Iran, in his resignation letter, he said Iran's not a threat, and Iran is not developing a nuclear weapon. And then he said, this is all about the Zionist lobby and the Israeli regime. So the Israeli regime is basically sacrificing the global economy.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? And yet so much of the world is afraid to say anything about that. They're afraid to criticize Israel because at the moment you do that, you're an anti-Semite, blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Let me ask you another question, if I may, Professor, because the report that we've got here says Iran might, quote-unquote, activate the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which handles around 1/10 of the entire global trade there. Does that mean that the Houthis might be joining in soon, or your thoughts?
Yes, that's quite possible, because as you know better than I, when the genocide in Gaza is still ongoing, but during the height of the genocide, the Houthis, or Ansarullah in Yemen, they said that they are going to they're going to carry out a blockade in accordance with the Genocide Convention. Yep. And what we're seeing today in Lebanon is another genocide. The Israeli regime is ethnically cleansing the south. They're bombing, and they're destroying village after village.
And they're doing that with Syria too.
Their behavior is truly monstrous. And it's amazing. Now they want to flatten Beirut, and Western media and Western governments, they won't sanction them. They won't say anything about it. There may be some mild criticisms. But I mean, again, going to Kiev, if the Russians strike the city and they hit military targets and a civilian is injured somewhere, they'll scream and yell that the Russians have violated all norms and standards of human rights and warfare.
And don't forget, Kiev just hit a school in Russia too.
The Zionist regime to
and they say nothing.
Children, morning, afternoon, and night, destroy entire villages and look away, and instead try to to blame the Russians for Ukraine, blame the Iranians for whatever it is they want to blame Iran for.
Yeah. And blame Cuba for this, Venezuela for that, China for this as well, and blah, blah, blah. As you rightly said, Professor. Let's keep in mind the end of September 2024, when the Israeli Air Force targeted the Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in Beirut, in the capital city. They used 80 to 85 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs in a capital city, leveling a block to go after Nasrallah. I mean, my question is, mate, and I'm really quite serious here.
It's no different than what they did when they killed Ayatollah Khomeini.
Or stop the United States in these overwhelmingly illegal wars and genocides in the Middle East? Or are they just going to be left forever to do whatever the hell they want?
Well, the empire will let them do it. And I was in Beirut at that time. I was literally 1,000 meters, a kilometer away from those strikes. I was in the lobby of a hotel sitting and talking with a Lebanese friend. It was like an earthquake. And this, as you point out, it was in one of the most crowded parts of Beirut. And, the slaughter, I mean, they brought down 5 or 6 apartment blocks just in that strike. They don't care about the Lebanese because they see them as Amalek. They see them as subhuman. They see themselves as everyone else is subhuman. And in the West,
we're talking about those fake Jews.
That's fine. They can do whatever they want. So it is for us to stand up to Western regimes. There is no option.
Notice how those fake Jews, those Amalekites, refer to everybody else as Amalek? You see where that's going, right? But we know that they're not the real Israelites. But there's more, right? Because somebody has taken the MOTB, as this video shows.
Alright, Shalom.
Let me fix the screen. Okay, here we go.
Double honors to Apostles Gay Millstone, so I want to hope for elect. Just bring a call from GMS Cleveland account. Lord willing, let him find lesson. I want to prophecy, Ezekiel 33 and 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come. Then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. And straight into it. Here we go.
No, I don't have any side effects.
Do you have any?
I don't have any.
Can you feel it?
I can't feel it. I was able to do it, and then I did it.
And how long did that take you?
That took me about a week.
And then you went home and
I practiced at home.
And
What
so
a
what do you think the
retard.
biggest benefit of this is?
The biggest benefit is that it's going to help people with spinal cord injuries and people with Parkinson's disease and people with epilepsy and people with depression, anxiety, and all these different things. I could still move the mouse with my mind.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I had. It's actually pretty cool.
Is it like a chip?
It's a small chip, yeah.
So I'm curious about the device itself. The actual.
June.
How long did it take you to get used to it?
And there's a chip
It was a process.
Inside the
It took a
man's
few months to
forehead.
really get comfortable with it, but now it's just part of me, in my head.
Can you show us?
in the
Show me right
forehead.
here.
It's right there, Bishop
It's
Nate.
going to be amazing. We're going to be able to do so much more.
You disrespectful piece of
That's
shit.
the mark of the beast. He heard, start with Ellis Apostle Great Millstone and the brothers on down. We ain't playing no games. We ain't been lying to you. The spirit and power, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, prophesying, telling you, this devil, we're going to have the mark of the beast, and this is what he wants. But I wouldn't be surprised. This is a terror, even how he's talking. Like, you never know. And the Lord, because, the Israelites will take the chip. Obviously, the majority of Jake going to take the chip. But, this is the way this dude is. Like, I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised, like, you take the chip, like, you got that soulless, he got that soulless look, like Edomites have. Like, even looking at him, like, say, you got the Neuralink shirt, like, saying, but you see, you got the incision, okay, on his head where you got the Neuralink chip. He has the mark base beast, so he's through. All right, if he is a Jake, and say, he has the appearance of one outside, but like how he's talking, how his eyes are looking, he like to be a fucking terror. But anyway, this is like I said, this is the mark of the beast, man. The mark of the beast. This is what the scriptures is talking about right here. You got the in their head. Let me go ahead and get it. This is Revelation. You already know what it is. Revelation 13:16. And he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. In their foreheads, their heads, they would constantly saying for years. I don't care if it's in the left toe. Oh, I'm putting it says in their right hand, so I'm gonna put it in my left hand. No, it doesn't matter. You put that, you allow Esau to put this thing in your body, you have the mark of the beast. Alright? The Neuralink being able to strike again, they try to frame it as a good thing. No, I don't have no side effects. I'm used to it. At the end, he said, well, it's going to make, it helps people with, what he say, Parkinson's, all these diseases. We've been saying that. In Revelation 13 chapter, we talk about by means of those miracles. I'll probably go into that. Let me get this. I got a blue letter right here. Let me go into that, man. Let me go into miracles.
Which he had to deceive them,
Sure.
right?
The word miracles.
Yeah, skip the root word.
It says a sign, a mark, a token. It says that by which a person or a thing is distinguished from others and is known. It says a sign, prodigy, a portent, i.e. an unusual occurrence, transcending the common course of nature. Of signs portending remarkable events soon to happen, of miracles and wonders by which God authenticates the men sent by him, or by which men prove that the cause they are pleading is God's. And see, this is how Esau the deceiver is trying to do. He's trying to plead that, see, this is what I'm doing is of God, because I'm healing diseases, I'm causing people who are getting paralyzed, etc., to walk. I mean, they can think now and move around their own wheelchair, or give them the power to walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, literally, this is the mark of the beast, man. We see it. And the apostles have been breaking this down. We've been teaching this, man. This is going to happen very soon. Right? Very soon this will be
on a much larger scale.
Okay? It's mainly going to be in people's hands, but also going to be able to put it in their heads.
It's going to be rolled out big time.
This is going to happen.
And mandated.
Like I said, it's just news and prophecy, the mark of the beast, we told you. All right? Going back to Revelation 13. It says, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So we know. We see, we've been telling you the truth. We ain't been holding things back from you. There ain't gonna be no more wallets, ain't gonna be no more ID, ain't gonna be no more credit cards, debit cards, cash. Everything's gonna be on the chip. Okay? Call Lord Allah, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Hashem Kakadash, man. Habakkuk the second chapter. Though it's I'm gonna end on that. I'm actually gonna get it verbatim. I'm gonna end on that. Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Call Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Hashem Kakadash. That one is Apostle Ezra Millstone taught us the truth, man. Shalom to hopeful leg, man. Do not take the mark of the beast with this microchip. Nowhere in your body. Shalom.
Yep, and we've been very clear about that. So you went and got it, then you asked to be judged, pretty much. But like everything else, though, there's still more coming up, because again, there's this going on as well. Now, like everything else, though, this is just Russia condemning the actions of the Israeli state publicly, but they're going to do a lot more than just publicly condemn. They're actually going to move in, and they're going to go after the Israeli state. That's what Ezekiel 38 is all about, is the fact that they're eventually going to step in. But here they are publicly. You see it's tarrying, but yet you're seeing Russia getting more actively involved, And got to remember, they also struck down anything that proposed anybody getting involved in the Iran conflict, and they're going to continue to. But nonetheless, though, they're stepping in on concerning Lebanon as well, as you can see here.
While the whole world awaited the next round of talks scheduled for June 2nd in the American capital, the Israelis continued to methodically expand the occupation zone, destroying entire settlements to the ground as part of a scorched earth policy. It is becoming clear that the scenario of clearing the Gaza Strip is being almost entirely replicated in Lebanon, with the restoration of large-scale occupation control and the forced displacement of the local population. 26 years after the withdrawal of Israeli troops from Lebanon, the blue and white flag is once again flying over the Beaufort Crusader fortress, which survived Saladin, the Mamluks, the Ottoman Empire, and the French Mandate.
Madam President, the situation in Lebanon is deeply alarming, marked by Israeli ground troops pushing further north into Lebanese territory and intensified Hezbollah attacks reaching deeper into Israel. On 31st May, Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, announced that he had ordered the Israel Defense Forces to deepen and expand their control over areas previously held by Hezbollah, declaring the capture of the historic Beaufort Castle. This followed Israeli advances north of the Litani River in the Yormo Triangle. The Israel Defense Forces circulated images of an Israeli flag flying over the castle, evoking memories of Israel's occupation of southern Lebanon from 1982 until 2000, when the castle was used as an Israeli base. On 30th May, UNIFIL recorded 992 trajectories of projectiles fired by the Israel Defense Forces. This is the highest number since a cessation of hostilities came into effect on 17th April. Hezbollah has continued to launch dozens of rockets, anti-tank guided missiles and drones, including increasingly deadly fiber optic drones. It has also used surface-to-air missiles and improvised explosive devices against Israeli troops and assets inside Lebanese territory. 21 Lebanese armed forces personnel have been killed. 4 Israeli civilians and 26 Israel Defense Forces personnel have also been killed, with destruction and displacement affecting communities on both sides of the Blue Line. 6 UNIFIL peacekeepers have been killed and several wounded. Madam President, these developments mark a dangerous and alarming escalation, directly undermining the cessation of hostilities understanding announced by the United States on 16th April and eroding fragile diplomatic efforts to de-escalate the situation. They cast a long shadow over ongoing attempts to facilitate direct talks between Lebanon and Israel and risk derailing the already tenuous path toward a permanent ceasefire. Israel's presence north of the Blue Line is a clear violation of Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity, as well as of Security Council Resolution 1701. Israeli forces must withdraw to south of the Blue Line. Hezbollah and other non-state armed groups in Lebanon must disarm and cooperate with government efforts to extend state security and assert a state monopoly over the use of force across the region. We note with concern today's reported statements from Tehran that in response to the situation in Lebanon, Iran will suspend dialogue with the United States, block the Strait of Hormuz, and activate other fronts. We must urgently redouble efforts to avert any further escalation. In this context, we welcome reports from a short time ago today that intense diplomatic efforts may be yielding results and averting further escalation.
Thank you, Madam President. France requested this emergency meeting in light of the major ongoing escalation and the deep expansion of Israeli military operations in Lebanon. Despite the ceasefire that took effect on April 17th under the auspices of the United States. Madam President, let us recall from the outset, it is Hezbollah, backed by Iran, that bears responsibility for triggering hostilities by dragging...
Yeah, fuck you. Either way, though, we know that it's the Israeli state that is responsible for the ongoing aggression. But wait, there's more. Like everything else, though, you know. The global meme war is over. Welcome to the age of state-sponsored shit posting, where culture wars are no longer won by tanks, speeches, or movie studios. Culture wars will never be the same again. Military narratives are often promoted through entertainment and popular culture. However, you know as well as I do that it doesn't matter how many times you make movies like Navy SEALs or Top Gun, as it goes into here, that it doesn't even matter now. You know, they see who's the aggressor is. And people over here see right through the bullshit. And it's like, no, they know that America's not the good guy, that they're the terrorists themselves. For example, Top Gun is pretty universally a beloved film. However, its creators only openly admit they collaborated closely with the U.S. Air Force, essentially producing propaganda content common for well-known musicians and comedians to perform on military bases. Basically, you know, you had the big hit song Danger Zone and just promoted the U.S. military. But even despite all that, people are now coming out. Because of the war in Iran, the Trump administration sometimes resorted to memes, but not when it came to discussing conflicts. The first shift occurred when the ceasefire between Iran and Israeli state, when Trump posted a video featuring American bombers set to the song Bomb Iran. You know, so like everything else, so, you know, and people see this as a disgust, as they should. See, we're in a different time now. And like everything else, though, you know, we know that it's disgusting. You know, pretty much, you know. These are atrocities, and they bombed the school because it was fun. You know, but you see, like everything else, though, most people find it disgusting and revolting. Some viewers liked the video, and the Trump administration understood that this moment was effective for engaging the audience. Shortly after the first American strikes hit Iran in March, the official White House, D.C., shared a video on X showing bombs remixed to the song Freebird. We'll play some of it.
Strike to claim it. A strike to claim it.
So you get the idea, right? Yeah, it's disgusting, right? Yeah, and most people are disgusted and revolted by it. You see, unlike before where this might have been cool, people don't think it's cool anymore, you know? But more people are playing these because they know that this is the truth. And this is from Iran's side of it. And these videos are getting more and more popular. See how everything has shifted? So we'll play some of this. And fair use, by the way. So you get the idea, right? You know, who's winning the propaganda game? And most of the Iran videos are showing the Legos. You see how everything's shifted? They're actually being able to use this technology against Edom, you know, and have actually, you know, because who attacked who, right? Did Iran start the war, or did the U.S. start the war? Now, I know Chuck put it out there that, we've been at war with them for 14 years. They're just stopping a war that was already there. No, Iran did not support ISIS to go into Syria to overthrow the government of Syria. No, they supported the legitimate Syrian government to fight off ISIS, which you know, was sent in. So who sends terrorists? Who's been at war? You know, the U.S. You know, they armed Saddam Hussein to go after Iran. Known facts, and everybody sees this for what it is. Oil spikes as Iran denies progress despite hasty Lebanon truce. U.S. talks halted for at least a few days. There is no fucking ceasefire. It continues to be opulated. You know, it's just... they're still giving the illusion that they're talking. Right. D.C. has seen the Lebanon partial truce as opportunity enough to press forward the talks, blah, blah, blah. You know that there is none. The Israeli state can do whatever they want to. But all that's changing because, like everything else, so this is all being done on purpose to usher in the MOTB. We keep on going into this here. It's because, hey, we have the 100% truth. IRGC says armed forces prepared for all scenarios amid heightened military readiness. So, like everything else, they're getting ready to respond to everything. If the enemy returns to the military arena, the nature of operations, the geography of the battlefield, And even the types of weapons used will be different. The RGC is fully prepared for all possible scenarios. So, like everything else, though, it's not going to be as limited as it was on the first set of responses, which they only went after bases. Now, they might be going after those responding because they've said that on numerous occasions. Israeli escalation against Lebanon, U.S. adventurism in Persian Gulf tests Iran's ceasefire ready lines. A ceasefire is meaningful only when all parties respect it in letter and spirit. Otherwise, it degrades into little more than a tactical interlude, a breathing space for the aggressor to regroup while continuing to pursue its sinister objectives through other hostile means. After 40 days of the third imposed war, fragile ceasefire took hold. Yet, from the very first moments in this pause, the enemy's aggression and dangerous deception was laid bare. Yeah, because the Israeli state started firing against Lebanon immediately and killed more people in that attack than any other previous attack that they had with Hezbollah. You know, because they, of course, lost many things in the war, so they took it out on Lebanon. And of course, because the Israelis, you know, yeah, somebody might just say, well, we condemn. Eventually, Russia's going to stop that shit, and they're going to fucking go after them, and it tells you that, Ezekiel 38, that they will go to them that are at rest. You know, they're going to eventually go after these Zionists. Iran halts talks with U.S., says it will close Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Iran called for an end to the Israeli attacks against Lebanon and Gaza in order to restart the talks. Iran suspended all exchanges with mediators to end the war as a result of the escalating attacks against Lebanon, Tasnim news agency reported Monday. Given the continued crimes of the Zionist regime in Lebanon, and considering that Lebanon was one of the preconditions for the ceasefire, and that the ceasefire has now been violated on all fronts, including Lebanon, the Iranian negotiating team is suspending all dialogues and exchange of text through mediators. So, like everything else, so we know that the war is on, you know, but they're not telling everybody else that. They're giving you the illusion that they're still there. Despite Trump's ceasefire talk, King Bibi says Israeli forces will continue offensive in southern Lebanon. So there you go. Going to continue. It ain't stopping. So it's just a matter of time that more players get involved, and that's where the prophecies really come to pass. And it's June. It's June. There is an MOTB. You know, that dumb fuck Nathaniel, you know. I call him a dumb fuck because, like everything else, though, you know, he's going to be responsible for a lot of people getting it. You know, because guess what? It's here, and it's June. And people are getting it. Right now on a volunteer basis. Hasn't been mandated yet, but people voluntarily are getting it, and they're saying, look at how great it is. You know, we got this. We got, you know, this man has the MOTB. You know, clearly, you can see that as this video showed. You know, he's bragging about getting it. You know, this man right here has the MOTB and is advertising for Neuralink. And you know how much money Neuralink has because of its main guy behind it, right? Positions remain unchanged. At the same time, the army continues to operate as planned in southern Lebanon. So, like everything else, though, Trump said earlier Monday that Israeli state and Hezbollah had reached an understanding to cease attacks against each other. Bullshit. They're continuing, right? And you already know the attitude. So, like everything else, though, we know that, you know, well, we already played that. But nonetheless, though, you know, Russia's saying, look, man, we have zero tolerance for the aggression. So they're going to play a major role. And Yemen is coming back. Yemen pledges comprehensive response to any Israeli escalation in Lebanon. So they might be coming in aid too. So all these things are picking up. You see how fast things are picking up. In June, Israeli enemy must realize that any violation in Lebanon will be met with a response, and that its soldiers in the south will remain vulnerable to daily killings until withdrawal. Any escalation will be met with large and comprehensive response, official reiterated. So like everything else, though, you know, Ansarallah, oh, well, they say that if they back down the planned Beirut attack, we'll see, and warns of intervention. Yeah, Iran is warning of intervention, meaning that they'll go after these Israelis, and they have much better arsenal than they used the first time. So, You know, like everything else though, this will continue to escalate as we get closer and closer. You know, but nonetheless though, you know, it is June. And right now it's on a volunteer basis, you know. But you can see very clearly that eventually it will not be voluntarily, it will be mandated. You know, as we get into the NLT version of this, right? It's going to be required, right? Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And it requires everyone, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to be given a mark in the right hand or in their forehead. You know, so it will be required. It's going to be mandated. No one will buy or sell anything without that mark, which is either the name of the beast or the number representing his name. And you know, there was just a video a couple back that the very name Nero Caesar, his numeric value is 666. Wisdom is needed here. Let the one who with understanding solve the meaning of the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And yet that's the geometric numeric value of Nero Caesar. And if you know who Nero Caesar was, you know, and yet you look to the regeneration, only us with the understanding about regenerations will know who this man is. We're here right now, you know. We believe Donald Trump to be that man because he definitely is that fierce king and cruel ruler who rules over Egypt and yet wants to be the king of the entire world, you know. So we're here in that timeline today. It's June. People are getting it on a voluntarily level, and yet eventually it'll be a mandate. Shalom, Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadosh, Wa Abba Babal. Brakatam, Jehovah elect. Shalom.